What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is Sunday, the day before Memorial Day, and I've been at the garage for quite a while. If you can't tell, I'm all dirty because I've been putting in a ton of work. So today, like I said, is Sunday, the day before Memorial Day, which means I only have today and tomorrow before I need to get my stuff and the Genesis Coupe out of this garage. So that's why I got here today about 11:30. It's already 4:30 p.m. So I've been here for quite a while, and I've been putting in a ton of work, getting a ton of stuff ready, and just doing a bunch of sanding and fiberglass work and stuff like that off camera, just trying to catch up and get as much done. Now I'm at a solid point where I feel like I'm going to catch you guys up in this video, and we're going to get into what we're actually going to be doing for the rest of this video. So without any further ado, let's get you caught up with where I'm at so far. So the first thing that I tackled here today, as soon as I got here, was I finished up this driver's side front fender flare like I had mentioned in the end of the last video. We got a couple of air pockets there, like here and here. So I put some fiberglass down the other day when I left, before I left I mean, and I just sanded that smooth, and then I also put in a ton of work on this corner right here. Now, I don't know why I'm spending so much time focusing on this corner. This is at the bottom, at the front fender flare that nobody's ever gonna see, but it was just really annoying me that it wasn't 100% perfect. Now it looks a hell of a lot better. I went ahead and fiberglassed it all over again from the back, and then came in and sanded it and shaped it so it looks like a completely factory corner, as you can tell right there. So that looks way better. I'm way happier with that. And also the front fender flare, the kind of like the middle arch that I said had a couple of air pockets. We laid some fiberglass down, sanded that out, and made that look all perfect again. And I also came over here, redid a little bit of work on this corner, made this a little bit sharper. Then I took the opportunity to sharpen out this edge right here and get a nice hard body line, whereas you see over here, it's got that like rounded over, smoothed out look, where we got a nice hard body line all along here, which is what we wanted, what we did to the rear flare the other day. And yeah, so I'm really happy with how this came out, and that was the very first thing that I did when I got here today. Now the second thing that I did today actually involved this rear quarter panel, and that was, if you take a look right above this hardware hole, there used to be a giant dent right here. I don't really know how it happened. It might have happened one of the days when I was drilling out this hole and pushed in. As you can see, the quarter panel is kind of flimsy when the fender flare isn't bolted on. But there used to be, like I said, a giant dent there. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to take a picture of this before, or a video. I'm an idiot, I know, but if I can find a picture that you can see this, I'll put it up on the screen right now. If I didn't find a picture, I didn't have one, but anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. If you take a look, I'm gonna go over to the side right here. Watch this reflection from this window right there. You can see we got a high spot like right there, we got a low spot right there, and then we got a couple pieces of debris underneath the vinyl wrap. Those have always been there. No big deal. That's what happens when you are wrapping a whole quarter panel on a car, big area and stuff like that. So ignore those spots, but there used to be a giant dent right here. Like, I hopefully have a picture for you guys. But yeah, as you can see, it looks way better. The only spot that is really bad is underneath the fender flare, so I don't really care about that. We do have probably a little bit high spot right there, but I just didn't want to go too crazy and really fuck it up, because I really have no business doing this. I don't know why I even got into this today, but it's just been bothering me, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And luckily it went my way and it didn't get ruined. But yeah, so how I actually did that was I took my pick right here, put some blue painter's tape on it, and then I took this little hammer that I bought, and I just put, hey, let me get this there. So I just put the pick in there, use that to pull out the quarter panel as so. Then while the pick was still in the car for the high spots, I then had the ball peen hammer, and I was just kind of tapping it to flatten it out. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. Now, if you take a straight edge, which we have right here, and hold it up to the quarter panel, you can see the top of the quarter panel that's been untouched, perfectly flat. We go right above where the fender flare is. You can see there's a tiny gap in the middle, but it's actually pretty good right there. You can see, then you go up a little bit more, it's really good. Then you go just below the fender flare, you can see that there's a gap right there, which I'm perfectly fine with that. There's a big one right there, but that's okay, because like I said, that's underneath the fender flare. So right there, it's right above the fender flare, and it's pretty perfectly flat. It's not perfectly flat, but it's way better. Like, let's be real here, it's not perfect. Nobody has ever noticed that in the 4 years that this car has been out in this color and this setup. Nobody's ever noticed that dent. I don't think anybody would ever notice the dent. Probably nobody would notice exactly what I did here if I never mentioned it right now. But anyway, I did it. I'm happy with it. And then if you take, let me see if I can line this up while holding the camera. We There we go. Okay, lined up. You can see, watch the window reflection. There's almost no dent going across here, and then the fender lines up, or the flare lines up really, really well. So, like I said, very, very happy with how that came out. Now, I am going to get this car PDR'd on this quarter panel specifically. There's a bunch of dents here. There's some over there. There's some on the driver's side door that I want to get fixed before I get this car rewrapped. So while it's getting PDR'd, I'm probably going to have them look at that, see if they can get it a little bit smoother than I did, because they are professionals. But yeah, really happy with how this came out so far. And that was the second thing that I tackled today. Now onto the actual topic of today's video, and that's going to be sanding down and shaving out these rear fender flares. Now that one's over there because I actually started on that one already, because I've been stressing about this all day, all week actually, and I just decided I just need to get right into it. I'm running out of time here today, and I just need to get started on it and see what happens. So what we're going to be doing, like I've mentioned plenty of times in the past, is getting rid of this massive flat spot shelf thing that these fender flares came. I have no idea why they did this. Only on the top, you can see the bottom, perfectly thin, normal, flush. Then as you go up, it just gets super, super thick. I don't know why they did that, but I've hated it ever since I've had these flares. I've had these flares for 8 years, and I've always said I wanted to do this. I've mentioned it multiple times in the past, and I said, you know what? I got 2 days in this garage. I don't really want to do this while the car's outside, because if I don't finish, and that's the issue I have today, if I don't finish this by tomorrow night and this car isn't ready to have these flares remounted to the car, water is going to leak into the rear quarter panel unless I figure out some way to kind of seal this thing off. But that's what we're actually going to be doing today. We haven't touched that flare yet. That's just a mock-up to show you guys what I'm doing. But I have started on the driver's side rear flare right here. And so far, this is going really, really well. So you can see just how flush I've gotten all of the hardware holes. I had to sand down and shave this entire edge all the way along here. Now, unfortunately, we did have to sand through some spots right there. So I got some painter's tape there because we're going to start fiberglassing that. That's where we're going to catch up and start doing stuff in this video. But we got all of these holes nice and smooth, flush to the outer edge. Now we do have some low spots, some high spots on this edge right here, but that's fine. I do have a plan for that. Now unfortunately, what we're gonna have to do, because this didn't actually fully solve the whole shelf problem, it did make it much, much, much smaller, as you can see right there, compared to the other flare over there that I just showed you. What we're gonna have to do to get that out is now we're going to go back, backfill all of this. You can see just how deep this edge is from where the hardware holes actually sit. So we're gonna have to fill all of this in with fiberglass, let that cure, then come back and sand this edge perfectly flush so we have a nice, flush, easy transition into the body. So to show you on this, we're basically going to shave this off as thin as we can, just like we did on the other flare. On the backside, backfill it with fiberglass, and then sand this smooth so it just flushly transitions right into the body of the car. So like I said, I already got started on this because I was super nervous, super stressed out about this. And I just said, let me do this side. This is the side with the gas cap. It's going to be the most difficult side. Let's see how this goes, because if this doesn't work and I don't finish today, I'm really screwed since I only have tonight, which I'm only going to be here for another 2 hours, and I'm going to be here all day tomorrow. So, like I said, that's where we're at right now. And yeah, let me get the other flare off the car so I can show you just how deep of a difference this actually made. So, if we take this flare and put it over here, I'm sorry about this scattered thing. I don't have time to redo this video here, so we're just kind of going as we go. But as you see, that is how high of a difference this has. So this is where the hardware hole sits, and then look at how high off of that we go. We got like probably 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch. So we shaved off a ton from that flare. That sits flush in the car. I went ahead and bought some washer head button head screws to do this, and then I bought the absolute cheapest well nuts I could buy on Amazon, because these things are going to absolutely get ruined. These things suck. I would not recommend them, but it was like less than $10 for 50 of them, so I don't care if those get ruined. Those are like one-time use, throw them away, don't care. But they're super cheap. Those things suck. I'll have a link in the description for better well nuts in a later video when we actually start mounting these flares and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where we're at so far. You guys are all caught up. Now I'm going to catch you up, or now I'm going to get into the actual work. We need to fill in the spots I sanded down too far on here. We need to start backfilling all of this area right here, going all the way here, and then we're going to get into starting the whole process on this video or this flare, and that's where I'll actually start doing some time lapses of all the work that I put in so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. And don't forget, we still have to get into the front flares, but front flares I'm not too worried about, because if I have to finish those when the car is outside of the garage, no big deal, because this is all just a fender, so these holes go to actually nothing, instead of where the quarter panel, those holes go into the inner quarter panel that we don't want water and rust and all that stuff. So like I said, without any further delay, I have a ton of work to do. Need to fiberglass that, need to sand that, I need to get out of here all within 2 hours. So let's just get right into today's work. Alrighty guys, so we're gonna try and do this real quick. If I make any mistakes talking and I sound like I have no energy, that's because I literally don't. I've tried to make this like 4 times, I keep messing up. It's past 8 o'clock. I got a nasty background photo right there though. Shout out to my boy Gio at the abandoned train station. But anyway, rear flare on the passenger side is on. This is the one we just shaved and it looks really good. So a couple highlights here. All the hardware holes are flush with the body, and that's what's most important. One thing we did solve is I used to have a giant gap right here, which is actually why there was an extra hardware hole. You can kind of see that right there, and we don't have anything in there, and it's really flush with the body. Now there is a gap right here, but once again, just like the other side, that's going to be totally easily be fixed, and I have a solution for that. I have an idea on what I'm going to do, but keep moving along. Hardware hole looks good, hardware hole looks good, hardware flush, 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 all the way down, everything looks good. Now, problem areas. I'm gonna point out, we got a gap right here to right here. Now, I just sanded a little too aggressive right here, but you can kind of see a glimpse of that now. It's gonna look worse because there's a reflection and a shadow right here, but in reality, this is probably about, I don't know, a strong 1/8 of an inch, maybe a weak like 3/8 of an inch, or 1/4 inch. I mean, right here we got a little bit of a gap. Once again, I just sanded a little too aggressive, but more importantly, this hardware hole is flush to the body, this one is flush to the body, and this one is flush to the body. So the gaps in between, not a big deal. I have a solution for that. Already have an idea in my head, and we can kind of see that on what I just did with the fiberglass on the inside of the passenger side flare right here. So not only is this going to act as a way to backfill so we can sand the front side flush, that's also going to act as like a little bit of a buffer, so that gives us the flange, if you want, to have a flat surface against the body of the car. So yeah, that's the first step of that. We're going to have a whole other step tomorrow we're going to do. I'm running out of fiberglass mat, so I really wanted to fiberglass this fender flare tonight, but 1, it's just way too late. 2, I'm just exhausted, don't feel like doing it. And 3, I just started to run out of fiberglass mat, and I don't want to run out of it in the middle of the project. But long story short here, this looks really good. The other side looks really good. I'm going to come back tomorrow and keep going. Hopefully I can get these 2 flares finished up, and then we still will have to do the front flares at a later date, but that probably will be done off camera because you guys have seen the process with these flares. You don't need to see the process again with millions of time lapses. But yeah, so that being said, I am going to head out of here. I'm absolutely filthy. I'm super tired. Haven't eaten anything all day. Haven't drank anything all day because I didn't want to leave here. I don't even want to get in the Santa Fe. I mean, look at, that's just all fiberglass. This stuff is dirty. But like I said, I need to get out of here, go home and shower, and hopefully make it out to dinner with my cousins. I doubt it. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow morning. Alrighty guys, so it is finally a new day, and honestly it is way later than I wanted to be starting this part of the video, But on the way here, I ran to Ace Hardware's to get some more fiberglass mat. Now, if you notice, I said fiberglass mat. This package says cloth. And then I also got some hardener and some more resin. This is a small bottle though, as you can see next to it, the big bottle. Now, unfortunately, I went to Ace Hardware. Everything was going on time today. I got here, went to pull this out and realized this is cloth, not mat. I absolutely hate fiberglass cloth. I mentioned in other videos, I like fiberglass mat way better. So I drove all the way to this garage. Got here, realized I need to go back to the store, so I went to Walmart. They luckily had one package left of fiberglass mat. While I was there, they also had a big can of resin. Now, hopefully, this is the same thing. Obviously, it's different packaging, but from everything I can see online, this is just the new packaging version of this. The only thing that's interesting is that this says 401 on it, where this one doesn't, but the instructions and all the directions and uses and stuff are exactly the same on the label. So I believe that's just new packaging. I think this is the can that I've been using. I'm almost out of this. I don't think I'm going to run out, but I just didn't want to run out in the middle of this, especially since I'm already at a time crunch, and now I'm way behind, like 2.5 hours behind today. While I was at Walmart, decided I'm going to grab some throwaway microfiber towels. This was like $15 for a 75 pack. That's crazy cheap. Now I don't have to keep using paper towels wherever the heck they are, way over there, and getting like little dust nibs everywhere. Then since Dollar Tree was next door, I figured, you know what, I should probably grab some mixing cups so I can start mixing bigger batches of fiberglass and also use the correct ratios. Now what I've been using, if you guys haven't noticed, is these little tiny cups. Now these are 2-ounce cups. So I've just been filling them up halfway, which in theory is 1 ounce, which is what this direction says. So it's 1 ounce for every 10 drops of hardener. So I've been just filling this up roughly halfway and thinking that's roughly 1 ounce. And then instead of putting like 10 drops in, I'll put like 15 to 20 drops in. So if it dries faster, that's better than it never drying at all. So I go through way too much of this stuff for what I should be using. So I decided that's why I was like, you know what? Let me get some of these. I got 5 of these. They're $1.25, so screw it. They're plastic. We can clean those out, no problem. But yeah. So that's been the rundown of my delay. Also, the city of Marblehead, where this garage is, I can say that because by the time this video gets posted, we're going to be long gone out of here. But they had all the streets shut down to this garage because they're doing some sort of parade. So it was just delay after delay after delay. But yeah. So now we got all the supplies. We're at the garage. What we're going to do next? I need to take that fender flare off and fiberglass the inside. Same exact thing that I did over on this fender flare. So I'm not going to record that just because you guys already saw me do this and it's just boring time lapse. I'm not going to kill you guys with that. So we're going to do the same exact thing we did to the inside of this that you guys have already seen. Plus I'm on a time crunch. I don't feel like setting on the camera, do all this. I'm already wasting time talking right now. So yeah, I'm just going to start to clear this all off, clean up, get this off the car, clean that up, fiberglass that, and then when I start sanding and doing whatever I'm going to do on the other side, we'll catch back up and I'll give you guys some time lapses and stuff like that. But for now, I'm gonna get to work. See you guys in a little bit. All right, little update here. It's hours later. Did a whole bunch of sanding, a bunch of stuff. I'm about to start doing something on this, and I have literally no idea what I'm doing. I'm winging this to the fullest extent. We're gonna put all this fiberglass that I pre-cut. This is cloth, not mat, because I just want to get rid of the stuff and I don't like it. I'm going to put this all over the car. We got a purple vinyl wrap on here protecting the body of the car. So we got the purple vinyl wrap, we got blue painter's tape holding in the well nuts. Then we got the green vinyl wrap, so that way when we do this, we should just be able to pull this right off the car. Nice and easy in theory. I should put down aluminum foil tape. I have some, but that stuff sucks to take off. Fiberglass also sticks to metal, so I'm hoping it doesn't stick to the vinyl wrap as well as it does the metal, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, literally winging this. If this works out, I will show you the process on the other side, so pray for me. Let's see if this works. All right, so little update for you. That was one of the most stressful things I've ever done. This is, I'm in a rush, but you should never be rushing when you're doing stuff like this. I forgot to fill in the gaps along here, so now we're trying to backfill that because then it would have had nothing connecting to the body of the car. And because I already put down the base letter on the car, if you look in here, I can't just reach my hand up in here because it's all wet fiberglass web in there. So that was me rushing, forgetting a step, but regardless, so far it's not too bad. I think I can still save it. Like I said, I put the other vinyl wrap on it, so in theory I'm just going to be able to take this and just kind of pull it up and use that as leverage to break the fiberglass away from the car. hopefully that works. It's kind of like using Tyvek tape if you ever watch woodworking videos. So that's in theory what I'm thinking. Now, unfortunately, I've gone through a million gloves, fiberglass cloth. That stuff sucks. I don't know why I use that. It just gets, I mean, strands everywhere. I should just use fiberglass mat, but I'm running out of that. I didn't want to run out and not have enough for the other side. I have a ton of cloth here. I got that sheet and the one I bought earlier accidentally, but this needs to dry. I need to go to the store and buy new gloves. Hopefully everything's open still. It is Memorial Day. I don't even know. This thing is definitely not going to be done by the end of today, so we'll see. But that's where we're at right now. I sound down and depressed, but everything is going pretty okay. I just need to hopefully, fingers crossed, that I'll be able to pull this flare off the car one way or another. We got all the holes, hardware holes covered up that I need to fill, so that way we don't ruin the hardware and get that epoxy or resin to the car. These riv nuts, like I mentioned earlier, these things suck. They all, or almost all of them, didn't grip fully, so it is what it is. But like I said, these were just super cheap temporary ones, so they're holding the flare to the car enough that I need. There's also a bird in here, if you guys can hear that. I don't know where the heck it is, but there's some sort of bird in here. But yeah, like I said, I need to go to the store, get more gloves, and we'll finish up this. I'm at a serious time crunch, so I don't know how much I'm going to record, but so far, chaotic, but working out, hopefully. All right, guys, just to give you a little glimpse at the difference and how much better this side is looking, whereas the other side had gaps. So you can see on this flare, I'm going to point out the worst spots. So this gas cap door, this is the hardest part that I had to sand back because there's no real reference point. It's not flat and the curve comes in. So I did sand this one a little too aggressively. Then this area I did as well. But if you take a look at the rest of the flare, it's almost perfectly flush. There's a little gap there. That one's looking really good. And there's a gap at this body line, but that was the most problematic area. Then you keep going up, and then this is looking really good, really good. A little gap right here because I sanded too far, and then right there looks really good. So if this was like this on the other side and I did the fiberglass section over there and I stuck this flare on just like I did on that side, this would have worked out perfectly, just like I wanted to. But because I was rushing and I skipped the step on that side, that's what caused that side to just kind of be a snowball of a shit show, for lack of a better word. It still hopefully should be okay, but this side should be way, way better. What I think I might do is take some blue painter's tape and put it on the edges, on the gaps right here, and then that way take this flare off, put some fiberglass in, and then trim it to where the blue painter's tape ends, so that way I know it's going to be perfectly flat. And then I can come back, test fit this on, sand it while it's on the car, just take a couple of hardware holes off, then sand it and go like that, and then do the fiberglass on the car like I did on the previous side. So that's my game plan. Once again, at a time crunch, so I might not record most of that, just because it's the same time lapse you're going to see, me putting down fiberglass and sanding. You guys don't want to see that a million times over again. I know you guys don't want to listen to talking and updates and stuff like that, but unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes, where you're on a time crunch. I'm trying to record a video while I'm here and do all this stuff, so forgive me for just talking updates and stuff like that, but I feel like it's better than repetitive time lapses and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to get to work, and when I get this perfectly set up, and I go to fiberglass it onto the car, and then do the flange thing, so that way we're sitting flush. Now the reason I want to do the flange is that way it's going to sit perfectly flush to the car. It's not going to ruin the vinyl wrap, and also that's going to act as a nice weather barrier. Now I am running well nuts, so that well nuts instead of riv nuts are waterproof, which is why we're doing the rubber well nuts. I'm going to get, like I said, much better ones when this is actually mounted on the car. But yeah, that's where we're at now. That was a really long talking segment. I'm going to get to work. Catch you guys later. All right, so I got the blue painter's tape on the edge right here, and I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse at how much better this flare was standing flush-wise. So the first problem area, and probably the worst gap, is right here. We got probably like 1/4 of an inch at the deepest point, but still that's not bad. Then you go around the corner, and they're almost perfect all the way until you get to the gas cap area, which I knew this was going to be a hard spot, and even that's not that big of a gap. Go over right here, a little bit of a gap, but then going down this way, pretty much almost non-existent of a gap. Now this would have 100% been filled in if I did this base layer like this with fiberglass mat that I did on this flare. So that's honestly pretty good. I am going to build up some layers on here just to make this flange a little bit flatter. As you can see, this is kind of still sunken in a little bit. I want to get that much more flat. I'm going to do the same thing here, and then you get to this body line. That was the other problem area. We're going to have to build that up. But like I said, I'm going to build this up on the flange so that we have the nice protective surface that touches the body of the car. Now, this spot, we're going to do it differently. Because this is a vertical surface, I'm not going to build up a massive amount of fiberglass like that. So I'm going to lay fiberglass vertically here and just let it go up and over the blue painter's tape. Then that way I'm going to be able to use the blue painter's tape as a marking point to where I need to sand and shave to get this smooth. And then that way this should be much better fitting to the car before we go ahead and do the base layer like we did on this flare. So this is what I was supposed to do when I did this, but because I was rushing and I skipped this filling in section, or this step I mean, that's what caused kind of, I don't want to use the term shit show for this, but it was just chaos. So I think this should be okay. I'm letting this sit on the car for a long time to make sure it's good. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with this. So far, this one's looking a lot better going into the next step. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Quick update for you guys. We got all the fiberglass laid in. See, that's all flat. Then we get to this area. This is where it's vertical transition. And you can see we went well past the blue painter's tape, so that's going to be nice and easy to trim off. Then we went flat, all the way over here. I basically did every area at least a little bit. And yeah, everything came out pretty good. One problem area that I didn't see coming was right here. It was way off. It didn't look that far off, but it was off like this. So I had to bring it up like that, if that makes sense. So that might involve some more sanding and smoothing and shaping. We're going to test fit this on the car and not do what we did with this side. So this side is going to come out a lot better. The one area that was the most concerning prior to this was this area right here where we had this body line that sucks into the side skirt. That actually came out really good. I'm going to end up transitioning this more into the flare. So I'm actually going to extend the flare probably about 1/2 inch. I don't think I mentioned it, but that's why I went so far past where the actual flare is on this. So that way I have more room to kind of smooth it into the car. So we're going to have to backfill this, do a bunch of sanding and shaping and stuff like that. So that's why that is like that. So when we do that to this flare, we probably are going to have to sand through this, or at least some of it, and then backfill it, put some tape on the front side, and backfill it and sand and shape and stuff like that. So that area, good for now. Might have to be a little bit more work in the future. This one is just going to clean up the edge right there, and then this one will be good to be test fit. And then we're going to really test fit this a whole bunch of times before we do the backing layer on the car like that. And when I do this backing layer, I'm going to use matte this time, not the cloth. The cloth is thrown away. That stuff is absolute garbage. Don't even know what the reason of that stuff is, but I hate that stuff. I don't know why I used that there, but whatever, no big deal. Lesson learned. I'm not using that stuff ever again. But yeah, I'm gonna let this thing dry, figure out a way to get that off the car, and I'll catch up with you guys when that's done. Now, to give you guys a rundown of what you're going to see next is this is the passenger side rear flare. Everything has been sanded out, done even more work than the last time you saw it. We've got it test fit. I have mocked this up a bunch of times. Unfortunately, I forgot to take a video of it before I took it off, and I got brand new well nuts in the car, so I don't want to waste those because they're basically one-time use. This thing has almost no gaps all the way around it. You see a little patch right there because when I was shaping it and molding it to the car, I went a little too far, got a little too close to the outer skin, so I just want to backfill that, but I test fit that, and that does fit. Doesn't interfere, so that's good. We got a little bit more of a gap right here, but I don't want to sand anymore and go through, so we're just going to add 2 layers of matte to that area, and then as well as that area over there. And then this thing's going to be way flusher to the car than that side was. If you come take a look at the passenger or the driver's side of the quarter panel, we went through it, the blue painter's tape and the aluminum foil, just because I don't have time to lay more vinyl wrap down. But this is going to do exactly the same thing. We got some random, just extra hardware that I had laying in here just to protect the holes. And like I said, these are all brand new wheel nuts, so we don't want to have to mock up the other flare so I can show you guys how close it is. Just trust me, it looks a lot better than the other side did. We got all the fiberglass pieces laid out in order from this first one up and around, boom, 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 laid out. We got hardware holes cut out on every one. Those are all going to be facing left. And yeah, we got everything laid out. We got some extra pieces over here just in case. We got the drill and the actual hardware we're going to use right there. And yeah, this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to try and time lapse it. This is a very big pain in the ass process, so I'm probably just going to set the camera and just get it out of the way, and you guys will see most of the process. But yeah, obviously we got the wheel off, so we don't get any fiberglass resin on that. And yeah, that's where we're at right now. So far, so good. Fingers crossed this works. And yeah, catch you guys after I get this on. All right, so really quick here, for some reason, the screw at the very bottom from here, it didn't suck in all the way, as well as that one right there. So we do have a little bit of a gap there. I don't know how that gap's so big, because when I was just test fitting it way before I did this whole process, it was fitting almost perfectly. But what I've done is I've taken some scrap pieces and I've pre-soaked them right here on this mixing board. I'm gonna mix up a little bit more resin, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and backfill that little gap over there. But I'm on a time crunch because there's only a certain amount of mixing time in life you can use this stuff. So we're gonna try and fill in that little tiny gap right there, if you guys can even see it. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That's the plan. All right, to give you a glimpse, now that that is all set, we got the pre-soaked pieces filling in the little bit of gap there, looking really good. And then I went along the whole edge with the resin and just kind of brushed it in, just in case there were any gaps or whatever that I couldn't see. And then with the few extra pieces, I filled in this area because we did have a little bit of a gap right there on this section right there. But this is looking way, way better than the other side did. This is what happens when you're not super rushing. I mean, I am rushing, but I didn't skip a step, which was filling in the gaps and sanding and all that stuff. So this is looking pretty good. Now, the only thing is kind of a bummer is we only have one layer of matte on the flange area right here. I would have liked to get more, but I knew I was going to be running close on the working time with the resin to do this whole entire piece. This really would have been great if I had another set of hands that could have been going and doing another section while I was doing one section, but fortunately just me, so we worked with what we had. But this looks pretty good, and we're gonna end it here for now. Alrighty guys, so if you can't tell by the different clothes that I'm wearing, it has been entirely a couple of different days since the kind of last clips that you guys would have seen. Didn't end up finish the car by Memorial Day like I wanted to, so I had to come back a couple of afternoons and didn't really record any of that. Just like little clips here and there, and then today's time lapse and stuff like that. So we are gonna stop here. Unfortunately, like I said, I wanted to get more done. I wanted to get these layers off the car and worked on and sanded out smooth and all that stuff. But unfortunately we are at a good stopping point, because like this, the quarter panels are sealed. So not only are the well nuts waterproof, but the fiberglass is sealing the whole flare to the car so no water can get inside. The front fenders don't matter if they're mounted or not, because these holes go to literally nothing, unlike the rears. So that's a good stopping point. We're just going to leave these on the car because, like I said, I do have more things that I want to do. I want to get more layers on here before I pull these off. So that's where we're going to stop. I'll finish that off my house. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I was trying to finish on Memorial Day, which gave myself 4 days to get all my stuff wrapped up, get this car out of here. The car doesn't actually fit out of the door with the Baz rays on, so I got to take the donuts, put them in the front, then take the stocks, put it on the rear with a spacer, drive it out the door, and over there we got to then take the Baz rays and put them back on the car so I can drive this thing home. So total pain in the butt. We also have to get a U-Haul to get all the tools over here. I need to wrap up, clean stuff, get it in the toolboxes, and then I got to figure out what I'm even doing with those toolboxes. If I'm bringing it to my house, I need to clean out all the space to fit these things. And yeah, as far as videos go, I don't really know what's going to happen. I might try to record some videos in the driveway at my house, but that's where this car's going. It's going to the driveway at my house. I'm sick of renting garages. Unless I find some miraculous thing that works out perfectly, I'm over the garage thing. Hate dealing with people. I'm sick of just trying to be screwed over left and right by garages. I'm over it. So if I can find a house with a garage for a decent price, I might just go ahead and buy a house so I have my own garage at this point. That's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, so the videos, I'm not 100% sure. I know I'm probably not going to make another video focus heavily on these fender flares and fiberglass. That'll probably just be like an update of it's done. here's what it looks like, stuff like that, because you guys have already been killed with 2 videos back to back of fiberglass work, and I'm not going to do another third one that's filled with just time lapses and fiberglass and sanding and stuff. That gets boring and repetitive. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Like I said, I need to get all this stuff cleaned up, put away in the toolboxes, and be ready to get this stuff out of here tomorrow. So for now, peace out, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one, whenever that may be.